Hi, welcome to Mindful Chatting. I want to start with something that I hear all the time. I feel like my ADHD has gotten worse, or even I don't remember struggling like this before. What happened to me? And sometimes people will go even further and say, did I develop ADHD later in life? Well, here's the truth. Your brain didn't just suddenly break. You didn't develop ADHD overnight, but something did change. And if you don't understand what that change is, you'll keep blaming yourself for something that's actually explainable. So, today we're going to talk about what acquired ADHD really means, the overlap between ADHD and executive functioning, how stress, burnout, and trauma impact your brain, and why so many adults feel like they're getting worse over time. Well, we're going to unpack this and we're going to do it together.
Welcome to Mindful Chatting, a podcast where therapy meets real life. I'm Kristen, a therapist, business owner, and a lifelong student of what it means to fully show up in our relationships, in our work, and in our healing. Here, we unpack mental health concepts, explore mindfulness tools, and talk through the messy, beautiful, in-between moments that shape us. Whether you're a fellow clinician, a curious listener, or someone navigating your own growth, this space is for you. Let's chat.
I want to clear something up first as we get into this episode. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition, but executive functioning, well, that's not exclusive to ADHD. Executive functioning includes our attention, our working memory, our emotional regulation, our task initiation, and our organization systems. And these systems can be impacted by our stress, our burnout, trauma, sleep, hormones, even our cognitive overload that day. So, what a lot of people experience is that ADHD plus increased executive functioning, or I'm sorry, increased executive dysfunctioning. And it feels like these things are actually getting worse when really your brain is just under a lot more strain. And so you're starting to see that your ADHD symptoms are being impacted by that. So let's talk about stress, but in a real way, not just a I've been busy all day, but in a chronic stress or this constant pressure that you're feeling, or there's no real recovery period, or your mental load that never shuts off. So, when your nervous system is in that state for a long time, your brain prioritizes survival over the ability to function, which means our attention will drop, our memory will feel so much worse. You're more reactive to things, and your task initiation gets a lot harder because your brain is trying to optimize productivity. It's trying to manage all of this overload instead.
If you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what I struggle with, I want you to know that I built something specifically for you. The EF, or Executive Functioning Activation course, walks you through why task initiation feels so hard with your ADHD and how to actually get yourself moving without shame, pressure, or burnout. It's short, practical, and designed for ADHD brains, not productivity culture. If starting is your biggest barrier, this course gives you structure, language, and tools that actually work for you. You'll find the link in the show notes.
Let's talk about cognitive load. And this is one of the biggest pieces to this. Your brain has a limited capacity for holding information, processing tasks, and also managing decisions. Now, think about your life now versus earlier. You may have more responsibilities, a lot more decisions, and more roles in your life, along with a lot of mental tracking. So it's not that your brain is worse, it's that your load is probably heavier. And ADHD brains are a lot more sensitive to overload compared to the neurotypical brain. So, burnout can actually look a lot different for people with ADHD. And this is where people get a lot of confusion with this. Burnout doesn't just look like I'm tired, it looks like brain fog, this low motivation, difficulty focusing on things, procrastination, or emotional irritability. Does that sound familiar for you? Because it overlaps heavily with ADHD symptoms. So now you're dealing with ADHD, and then now you have the burnout, and it feels like everything is just falling apart. Okay, quick pause. Because you've ever found yourself rewinding this episode like 3 times because your brain just drifted, this is for you. I hear this all the time. I can focus, just not when I actually need to. And that's exactly what the focus course is about. Because here's the truth: ADHD isn't a lack of attention, it's a regulation issue, which is why some days you're locked in for hours and other days you're rereading the same sentence, wondering what just happened. So, inside my executive functioning focus course, I break this down in a way that actually makes sense for you. We go through how your attention works in your brain, your specific focus patterns, why you get distracted externally and internally, and how to actually build a system that helps you stay on track and come back when you drift. Because the goal isn't perfect focus, it's knowing how to return without spiraling. So if you're tired of blaming yourself and you just want something that actually works with your brain, I'll link the focus course in the show notes. All right, let's get back to this episode. Now, let's talk about trauma. Part is a lot deeper. If your nervous system is dysregulated, your brain is not operating from a place of safety. And when safety is really low, attention narrows or it'll feel really scattered. Your emotional reactivity will increase and your executive functioning will actually decrease too. So, again, it's not that your brain has stopped working, it's that it's working under a different set of conditions. And that may feel like you're not really yourself. So, this is why adults feel worse over time. And this is the moment where I think this usually clicks for people when I talk about this. As a child or even a teen, you're going to have fewer responsibilities. You're going to have probably a lot more structure in your life. You're going to have a lot of this external accountability for you, and you're going to have a lot of less decision making. But as an adult, you are the system. So you manage your time, your schedule, your responsibilities, your life. And so the demands increase, but your support often decreases. And that gap, well, that's where the struggle actually really shows up. So this isn't regression, it's actually exposure. You're not getting worse, you're more exposed. Your executive functioning is being tested, it's being stretched, and it's being relied on more. And when there's no system supporting it, it will break down. If you want to understand your ADHD in a deeper way, I've created the ADHD Crash Course, and it walks you through ADHD step by step so that you can actually start understanding your brain and not shaming it. Everything's in small, doable lessons designed for your ADHD in mind. The link is in the show notes. So, we don't try to fix this by trying harder. We fix this by reducing your load, or maybe supporting your nervous system and building some external structure for yourself. So, let's talk about reducing your cognitive load. So, get things out of your head, and that can look like using a planner, using notes, or even visual systems to remind you of things instead of relying on your brain to remind you. Now, that may sound like, well, I'm relying on different things. That's the point. As of right now, because of your stress and burnout, you're relying on your brain to do all of the things that it would normally do, but it's holding a lot more load. So don't be afraid to rely on external scaffolding and supports so that your brain can actually function and apply energy to things that really matter. It doesn't need to rely on when my appointment is and at what time today. Write it down, put it on a sticky note, set an alarm, put it on your desktop. You don't need to remember that. Your energy and brain could be for showing up for other things in your life that are probably more of a priority. Next, we need to support your nervous system. So this looks like sleep. This looks like movement, breaks, emotional regulation, all of the really simple things, but they are so foundational for you. So if you're already struggling with ADHD and then you have burnout on top of it, or you have trauma, or you have stress, you need to come back to the foundational pieces that help regulate and scaffold and support you so that you can manage all of those things. Because I can tell you right now, when I think about all of my external stress, it's not going anywhere. It's staying there. So instead of me being upset and resentful about that stress and that trauma, I need to focus on how can I regulate myself so that I can show up to these things a little bit differently. So that may mean I need my 8 to 9 hours of sleep. That means I need to go to bed on time or wake up at the same time every day. Or maybe that movement period of I need some walks or I need to schedule exercise time for myself, and that's a non-negotiable. Or maybe I need to schedule some breaks and buffer times throughout my day so that I can regulate and relax before I come back to that stress. Or maybe I need to learn some emotional regulation skills. Maybe I need therapy. Maybe I need a friend to talk to. Those are supporting foundational things that are important for you to show up. Next, I want you to build some external systems for yourself. You are not meant to hold everything internally. That is not sustainable. If this is resonating for you, this is exactly why I created tools around ADHD planning and executive functioning, because your brain is overloaded. You don't need more motivation. You need structure that holds things for you. I'll link some of those resources in my show notes if you want to explore those. If you feel like your brain has changed, it probably has, but not in the way that you think. It's not broken, it's not overloaded. And once you start understanding what's actually happening to your brain, you can stop blaming yourself and start supporting your brain in a way that actually works for you. I want to thank you for joining me today. And as always, be gentle with your mind.
One more thing before you go, and this helps me personally staying present and grounded, which we all need, especially when your brain wants to spiral into disconnection. Me too. It's Brain FM. It's musically designed to help ADHD brains, well, really anyone's brain, focus, relax, or sleep, and I use it almost daily. If you want to try it, I've dropped my link in the show notes. And if you're looking for planning tools or ADHD-friendly resources, I'll keep a list of my favorite links in every episode.